Hi, everyone. It is Ray from Ray Life Coaching, and I want to go over my confidence toolkit for people pleasers. I call it Don't Shut Up, Just Stand Up. And this is the free talk introducing my workshops. There's 5 workshops that come together for the 7 tools that I provide in the toolkit, and confidence mindset shift toolkit for people pleasers. So here we go. So I'm going to go over the overview is who am I anyway, and what is confidence? Why is confidence so important? What is this workshop all about? How to use the free toolkit, tricks that will help you through the toolkit, outcomes that I expect that you'll get if you do the toolkit, and next steps along the way and questions. Okay, so I'm just going to tell you about me. My name is Ray, and my given name's Renee Bior. Renee means rebirth, and so I'm really good about change for some reason. And my history is that I'm an artist. I went to Rhode Island School of Design in Providence, Rhode Island for sculpture, and then got certified afterward for yoga instruction and meditation instruction from Kriya Yoga Institute in Chicago. And I am now an entrepreneur, but me getting there was a feat. So I taught yoga for about 5 years thereafter, but at the same time, I was doing many jobs, but inevitably was in the office, in the back office, doing bookkeeping for a lot of different businesses. And it just wasn't working. And I think the reason I shut down at age about 27, 28 was because I started doing yoga, and it brought me into a space that I was not ready for. I wasn't ready to be my true self because I realized that everything around me wasn't fitting my belief about the world and what I thought it could be. And I didn't know how to have a relationship with others, myself, in relationship to what was happening. And so I shut down from about 28 to 35. And at 35, I was in the worst business, working for, as a bookkeeper for a very abusive employer. And I had to get out. I realized that if I didn't, something bad was going to happen for me. And so at the worst time, when I had very little resources, I started my own business slowly. I got out of that company and went part-time, went full-time, 2 part-time jobs into a part-time job bookkeeping, and then went on my own. So it was a gradual situation, but it taught me things that I now realize I needed for me to get to where I am now. I am now a life coach, but even before that, in 2017, I came out as polyamorous, and I attribute that to me getting my autonomy as a virtual bookkeeper, um, independent virtual bookkeeper, because having that autonomy and agency really allowed me to hear my voice. And that is the reason why I'm doing this confidence workshop, because I think that there are steps, there are places that I had to go through in order to allow myself to do brave things. I had to open the door. And in order to open the door, I had to get rid of some stuff in my way and be able to even see the door. So that's my story. To get the confidence toolkit for free, you can go to this QR code, or you can go to raylifecoaching.com/free resources. So I'm just going to show you how that's going to look when you go there. So when you go to the page that I said, raylifecoaching.com/free resources, you'll get to this page, and you're just going to click on download, and it'll bring you to this prompt where you would just enter your information, tell me how you found out, and then you would get a link that would log you into this, and you download. When you download, you'll get a PDF. And so we're just going to go over the PDF, And just so you can see also, this page that you get will give you a lot of other things totally separate from the PDF. Extra meditation and visualizations, and this other free guide that I have. If you click on here, it's going to bring you to another prompt because it also gives you 7 emails and guidance along the way each week, one a week. And that is pretty much it. I also have another toolkit or guide, that's manual actually, that's coming out, and it's going to be Mojo Magic, how to become a Mojo magnet. And that's the next step after Confidence Toolkit. However, if you feel like you want to take that, it's all about boundaries and consent and having hard conversations, pretty much standing up for yourself. It's like using all of the tools that you're in Confidence Toolkit to actually start doing a lot of the things that are hard and scary. Okay, so what is confidence? Confidence. So I took this from Merriam-Webster, and I crossed off the things I was like, this is very confusing. Actually, I'm not going to use these words because I think they're triggering. But the ones that I highlighted, I think, are the most important. So a feeling or consciousness of one's powers or of reliance on one's circumstance. Very important. So I think feelings are so important. If you're not conscious of them, and then you're not able to really see what power you have over your thoughts and feelings, power over your decisions, really. That's what it comes down to. And it differentiating you from others to kind of be like, oh, okay, my strengths are here. And although people are saying one thing, I can do another thing. And reliance on one's circumstance, like your power to alter your perception of your circumstance, really comes right down to that. So faith or belief that one will act in effective ways. And so I took out right and proper because I felt like they were the most triggering. And actually, I'm not, right and proper brings up like perfectionism, and I don't think that makes sense in faith. The quality or state of being certain is not really true. I don't think it's certainty. I think it's like being connected to oneself enough to believe in your own feelings and judgment. A relation of trust or intimacy, it's like having intimacy with yourself. And what does that look like? Having communication with yourself, and therefore having reliance on your own discretion. Why is confidence so important? So I'm going to go over this here. It's like the difference between confidence and being really insecure, where you're like stuck and you're deferring to everybody else, and really your body and your emotions are conflicting with other people's or just whatever's around you, right? And then on the other side can be this arrogance. And so I actually believe they're kind of one and the same. Arrogance is just acting. They just do. I'm just going to bust through that wall. And they may not be fully connected to their emotions. Actually, arrogance may be pretty angry. Like, no, my way is the highway. Like there's a little bit like deafness to the outside world, but at the same time, when they're not dealing with their emotions and their own thoughts and processes, then they're actually not really listening to themselves either. So they may actually be doing unconsciously what the outside world wants them to do anyway, because they're not really listening. They're not fully conscious. While the really insecure person who's kind of stuck, they're like overly conscious of their inner world in a way that is stopping them. And they're still people pleasing. I think both are kind of people pleasing. So one might be unconsciously people pleasing, and the other one kind of really knows that they're people pleasing. To the default, they may actually, both of them may think that they're helping in some way. So finally recognizing the confidence in their body and how it truly feels. Like, what does insecurity feel like in your body? I think it's important to be able to hold that dearly, to actually really know what that feels like and still go forward and do brave things. So I think that's what confidence is. It's not ignoring your insecurities. It's not believing that you have none. It's not enabling your insecurities either, and saying, oh yeah, I'm so bad, and poor me, blah 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 blah, and holding them like dearly, like, oh, attention seeking kind of thing. So it's neither one of those. Arrogance and confidence, they're opposite spectrum, and arrogance is insecurity. So that's kind of, and I think being really insecure, it's funny, is almost being like like poor me in a lot of ways. It's like, it's a lot of focus on the ego, instead of your true wants and desires. And it may be not really allowing yourself to move forward, or not allowing yourself to be vulnerable. The arrogance may be like not allowing yourself to be vulnerable and scared when you are still doing those things. Because what happens is, I think with arrogance is they're not, they may not actually be doing the scary things all the time, really for themselves. Like the true scary thing, they're not even allowing themselves to see, because if they did, it would mean they're vulnerable. And the reverse is the case. Like a person who's very vulnerable, very sad, very stuck, and always reaching for other people's guidance is not willing to be vulnerable by just stepping out away from those people who disagree, because that is a very vulnerable state, to just go it on your own and hold your own. So arrogance and confidence are totally opposites, on the opposite spectrum. And acting, you'll notice performing is the arrogant side, acting, really being, not just trying, really believing, not just wishing, not just hoping, really trusting and having true faith, not being right or wrong or knowing anything, not being certain, really. It's actually doing it even when you're not certain, doing it even when there's probably a good chance you're going to fail, because that's a part of the process. Confidence is an internal job, and insecurity is always seeking external validation. Okay, so here we go. That's a lot. So what is this all about anyway? Why do we care about this? So I think it's because we want some authenticity to ourselves, right? We want to know that we're making decisions based on our actual want, or what we want our life to look like, and who we want to be. So let's start off with the 7 tools. The take inventory and affirmation. These are the first 2 tools, and I consider this part of the part 1. There's 2 parts. The first part includes 4 of the tools, and the first 2, take inventory. Take inventory is for clarity on what you want. Is to create a focus, so we can use that focus to go forward, and what you have to be to get it. So that's the affirmation. Affirmation is saying, who do I need to be? And what do I need to say to myself in order to pump up that person? And really be clear about what that requires. And then the next 2 is create structure for change, to plant seeds into a healthy foundation. So containerize is to create the structure. And the care package is the foundation. Really, you need to care for yourself. Without that care, it kind of crumbles. You'll notice if you don't eat well, you don't sleep well, you don't care for yourself and whatever needs they are, then you aren't really there to do all of these, even just do extra. You don't have enough to give even to this next venture, or even to listen to yourself. So part 2 is 3 of the 7 tools. The first 2 of these are ritual and remembering why. I put these together because they're about making a mystical spot. It's like really reconnecting to your soul, and doing it in a visual, physical way, which is the rituals, and doing it in like a spirit, mental way, which is the remembering why. I mean, you can write the remembering why down, you can make that physical. You can even have a ritual or object or an action that you perform that symbolizes your why, or symbolizes the reason why you're doing this in the first place. And the reason why has to be somewhat connected to your focus of your initial take inventory and affirmation. So connect to the power of the unknown. So that's what the ritual is meant for. And our own power as a reminder of purpose. So remember why is our own power. It's like reminding ourselves of our purpose also reminds us of our power. Because I think once we know what our purpose is, we feel the power to move, to act. And that's great. So the end of part 2 is the last tool. And I add another one, which is inspired action, because that is the outcome. I think once you start to work on this toolkit for confidence, you'll realize that the power and the power to act will happen. It will happen naturally. Because if you're really doing this, you'll start to feel so inspired by your own inner listening. You'll start to really hear and visualize what you want into being. You'll know the steps. You'll visualize the steps that's going to progress to make that thing happen. And you can start to have a list going. That's a part of the workshop. And that's actually the work that we can really start to work on. And I'd say about the 5th workshop. But you'll notice that you'll have this structure and a plan in place from this workshop. So move from belief, trust into faith, and then flow of confident, inspired action. So I'm saying that there is an 8th step, but it will just come from you doing the work. And I really mean it. I mean that once you do the work, it comes naturally because it's already in you. So how to use the free toolkit. So I'm trying to see where I put that. And tricks that will help you and outcomes. Okay, I think I put it somewhere over here. So we're gonna look it over. So how do you use the free toolkit? Your first step is look it over. Don't do anything. Listen to the meditation and the visualization and read it all. So I'm just gonna go over that with you right now. So this is on, I think it's like the 14th page or something. Let's look at that. Yeah, the 14th page. So the meditation is about 10 or more minutes long, but it's meant to set you right for the day. The visualization should come after that. I'd say it was best to come after that, but you can do it alone too. The meditation helps you move into the visualization with a good place in your body, with great awareness, right? So that you're already set up to do this visualization better. So then I also have how to use the video, how to use video. So let's go there. So I would suggest listening to this, and we're going to go over that right now, actually. So plan it out. Pretty much. That's what I told you on the video is listen to the meditation, listen to the visualization. Don't do it. Just listen to it. Know what you are expected to kind of do. Read it all, go through it all. So I'm just going to kind of scroll through this. So this is we kind of went over a lot of it. And then you have the journal prompts, all the questions. There's about 3 big questions on each. Actually, that's 4. Some of them are a little bit more. And you can either, I'm going to provide you with writable PDFs, but you can also just use a journal. And so when you're looking at all of this, don't do it right away. I don't suggest that. I suggest kind of seeing what is going to be required of you first, and then go, how do I actually want to do this? I say space it out. Give yourself time, because it's going to set in better if you slow it down instead of try to push it through. Because then, 1, you might get overwhelmed. 2, you might have expectations that are just unrealistic. And that's called perfectionism. And the more you slow it down, the better you don't get caught in that cycle. Because once you're in perfectionism mode, you most likely will stop doing it. And you haven't really learned how to just create a system, a habit of going to it. And that habit could only be like a minute a day. But if you build on that, as time goes on, you've built on habits. So that's the most important, is to be consistent. Decide how, schedule it, find ways to be accountable, put notes up, tell people about it, have people ask you about it. But planning it and knowing how much you're going to do is going to be really important. To say, okay, every minute, like every morning, I'm going to get and, create my space where I'm going to do this, because all you need is a spot to meditate and have a journal. That's really all you need. But you can start there. My first morning, I'm going to just sit where I think I want to be every morning. And then the next morning, I'm going to fix up my space. It's like really small steps. They might not actually be related to the toolkit right away, but you're creating that space and you're creating that consistency. And the next morning, you're like, okay, I'm going to put a candle for my ritual, or, I'm going to set my space up. And the morning after that, the 4th morning, maybe you start the meditation and you're just like, okay, checking that out. And then the next morning, you look at the first question and you're just like, okay, let me answer that. The next morning, you answer the second question, and you just keep on going. So think about how you want to schedule it. Think about the things that you want to add. And as you're doing it, you might realize, really going over the whole process will help you set up the whole process for you to actually work on the toolkit. And it's kind of funny. Micro versus macro. So this is a practice. It goes in order, but it's really about consistency in the end. The biggest important part is that the first questions help you. The take inventory is really, really, really important. If you skip over that, you pretty much skipped over the whole purpose because you want to get to a place of focus. And if you can hone it down to a really small place of focus, great. But if you have something like, I want to feel confident in doing this workshop, this presentation, then great, do that. And then you can ask yourself all the questions and keep on going. So the first one is really important. Okay. So build on small steps, like I said. Make them really small. 1 minute is great, and placing the time in the beginning of the day is really helpful. They say that meditation or doing something that kind of elevates your vibration is better in the morning, especially early in the morning, right after you've slept, because you've already come from that kind of dreamy state that helps you believe in possibilities. Okay, tricks to helping. Grouping things together. Like I said, do 1 minute and the next day maybe add, or the next week add, grouping them together, like waking up and having an alarm, having a note in front of you, and then doing it right away. Doing it while you're in bed with your eyes closed, that's fine too. Like starting off the process in a way that's really easy for you. Write it down. Writing down is pretty much telling yourself and everybody else and the universe that you mean business. Saying it out loud really does do that too. Very small, just to hone it down. If you're feeling like you're having a hard time doing this, it probably means that you've made it too big. Start really small. Compassion. Self-talk is so important. So if you're doing like 1 minute a day, then be like, I'm doing something different. Doing a habit is hard. So have others affirm you. So anybody that you know that really, loves you and respects you, tell them and say, hey, can you text me every day and just say, how you doing with that thing that you said you want to do? I'd be like, great. Or can you expect me to tell you at night that I finished this one thing I told you that I was going to do? Great. Allow for mistakes because they will happen. Allow for yourself to sway a day or two or three or a week, and because they will happen. Learning how to pick yourself up is part of this. Actually, it's a whole part of this. Having that ability to fail is so important, and knowing how to bring yourself back is a part of this process. So making it fun is huge. So whatever makes it fun, if that candle makes it fun, if music makes it fun, if making cookies while you're listening to the meditation, well, whatever you got to do. In the beginning, it's so important to create some fun into your mix. And if it allows you to slowly start, then hey, that's what you got to do. Do with others sometimes is great. Celebrate after with others or with yourself, whatever that means. Having a little gift that you give yourself, whether it be going out to that dance or going karaoke or doing something free. Okay, so outcomes. Your outcomes is trusting yourself in the end, but it will give you focus on what you want. Like, where you have to redirect yourself and why. So when you sway off, it's being able to sway yourself back. And where is that? That focus of the take your inventory is exactly where you want to go. And then the why, which is the sixth tool. Knowing your why and your focus, those two together are key because they spark connection. They spark connection to your soul and your inspiration. And if you don't have that, then it's going to be really hard for you to get yourself back clear. It'll not only give you focus, but it'll give you clarity. You know what it will take down to the details. So you're not only focused, but you're clear on the details. You're clear on what you'll need to be, need to act on. Like, what is it that I want? And then you will process in your head, like the containers. How do you get there? And what do you need before and after? What do you need to be there? Those are the little steps that you're going to visualize in your visualization. Direction. You know what it takes to do now, and nothing is more important. So you know what you have to do now, and nothing is more important. And all these are related, right? The focus, the clarity, and the direction. It's like, that it may take being vulnerable, being scared, being uncomfortable. But your why will keep you there. Your focus and clarity will keep you there. You are clear about the steps that are needed. And as time goes on, that clarity gets bigger and bigger. So that's great. And I would say that the ultimate thing that you get out of this is you will say to yourself, I can't not do this. I can't not do this because now I know why I have to do this. So the next steps. I think I told you a little bit about the next steps, but last October and November, I had a workshop on all of this. I will be restarting this workshop coming up in 2024 after February. I haven't decided on the dates yet, so check that out on my website, raylifecoaching.com/workshops, and you will see confidence there. And do the free toolkit. Do it with a group. Register for the 5-week workshop. Purchase the booklet that I have online. Purchase the online workshop coming up, which is the Mojo one, and get the recording version. The recording version is coming soon. So January and February, you will see that coming out. Again, here is the toolkit for you if you'd like to download that now. And this is just a little advertisement for you. And this is just the link to the online workshops. And the next steps really is the Mojo Magic, becoming a Mojo magnet. And the manual's coming out late December or early January. Free talk is January 7th. I will have that recorded for you, and it will be available in January, probably late January, because I have to fix things up. Register for the 4-week workshop. That's the Mojo Magnet, or becoming the Mojo Magnet. For in-person, the online version, still working on that. So that should be showing up on my website as well. And get the recorded version in February. It's coming in February. So that will be definitely a lot cheaper. So here is the links for that. And so here's the website, and you'll see the confidence here and the Mojo Magic and the free instruction and the 4-week workshop, and then the confidence. I will be in Philadelphia if you're available for the Poly Living 2024, doing the confidence mini workshop for Poly Living Conference in Philadelphia, February 9th to 11th. So check that out if you're interested. I think they still have availability for registration. Hotel might be booked, but you can always check it out. And other free training and some support. Okay. And let's go back. Let me scroll down. Apologize for all these flippings. And I just want to thank you for your attention. And if you have any questions, please contact me. You can go to my website at About, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you can just message me there. Or you can go to ray@reneebior.com to email me if you have any questions. You can always go to Instagram or Facebook. It's just Ray Life Coaching, @Ray Life Coaching. And that's pretty much it. Thank you so much, and have a great day.